God is good today. He's worthy to be praised. Everybody ought to be happy right here. Just as we anticipate going over there. I want to welcome everyone, saying good morning to the Lion Street Church, and also to those who have graced us with your presence. We want you to know that we consider you our honored guest. And at the conclusion of our worship activities on today, we want to invite you to hang around for just a little bit. We have a reception for all of our guests, kind of like a family get-together kind of thing, and we want you to come and get a heaping helping of our hospitality. Is it all right? So we want to do that. I want you to turn your Bible, if you will, this morning to the Gospel according to Mark. Meet me at the 3rd chapter, verse 13 through and including 19 was the passage that was read in your hearing. We're going to use that text today to share, once again from our theme for the month, the impact of impact ministries. The impact of impact ministries. What would be the impression left on others by our endeavor to serve lost humanity? I want to, first of all, just give a shout out to God. Amen. Is that all right? I want to give praise to God today because God has done some wonderful things in our lives. You may not believe it, but it's true anyhow. That's right. God is, and we say He woke me up this morning, He started me on my way, and all that kind of stuff. And that's good. We love that. We need that. But, there are some other things that we need to look at. That's right. And always keep at the very forefront of our mind. Yes, we have temporal and material blessings. Yes, we do. But we, God's people, have been allowed to receive what others don't have. That's right. That is a relationship with God. Amen. That is a relationship that puts us in a new category. We can address God as our Father who art in heaven. Amen. See, now we are His children. And because we are His children, we understand that, we're grateful that we were called by the gospel. Amen. How many of you feel that you've been called by the gospel? Amen. We've been called into a relationship with Jesus, our Lord. Amen. But do we realize that now we were not only called for salvation, but we were also called to service. That's right. Mm-hmm. That's kind of when the amen starts to go down a little bit. We've not only been called to be children of God, but we have also been called to be representatives of the kingdom of heaven. Mm-hmm. And so therefore we understand that we've been called to service. See, the Bible tells us, the Bible said that Jesus went around from town and villages, and when He went around those towns and villages, he preached the good news of the kingdom. He taught in the synagogue. He preached the good news of the kingdom of God. He healed people of diseases. He healed people of sicknesses. He did all of those things. And as He saw the crowds coming to Him, and we said on last Lord's Day, people came to Jesus because He first went to them. And we began to experience the powerful Word of God. We begin to behold the marvelous works of God wrought through Jesus Christ. And as a result, the Bible says that people began to come to Him in large numbers. Great multitudes, big crowds came to Him. And when He saw those crowds coming, the Bible says that His heart was filled with pity for them. Why? Because they were worried and they were helpless. They were kind of like sheep without a shepherd. And so Jesus, He looks at His disciples and He says to His disciples, the harvest is large. But there's a problem. There are few workers, far too few workers to gather in the harvest. And this is praying to the Lord or the owner of the harvest that He will send out workers to gather in this harvest. And then He chose his 12.
Right.
That's how we get the account in the book of Matthew. But today, as we look at the book of Mark, the Bible tells us that Jesus, and we've already talked about, as we have been, methodically, moving through the book of Mark, we learned that Jesus, on an occasion, he went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day. He taught in the synagogue. And there he encountered a man with a withered hand. And then he told the man, he called him out, had him to come forth. And then he looked at the audience. He looked out and he saw those Pharisees who were not there to worship, but to watch. They were there to see how they could catch Jesus in some catch-22. And he said, is it expedient to do good or evil on the Sabbath? To heal or to kill on the Sabbath? And they held their peace. And then he asked the man to stretch out his hand. And the man complied and saved, and his hand was made whole.
That's right.
And while it seemed as though the time of great celebration, there were those who took counsel and began to devise a plot how they may destroy him.
That's right.
And as a result of that, the Bible says he withdrew from the city. He withdrew from the town, and he went by the seaside. And the great multitude followed him. So much they were pressing upon him that he had to get into a boat, make the boat into his pulpit, and distance himself from the crowd and begin to proclaim the good news of the kingdom of God. Now, we saw on last Lord's Day the great impact that Jesus had. His impact on those Herodians and those Pharisees moved them to want to destroy him. The impact that he had on the crowds moved them to want to press upon him like a mob. They could have crushed him. We see the impact of Jesus even on the evil spirits who bowed down before him, not out of devotion, but out of submission.
That's right.
And they begin to say, "You are the Most High God." He forbade them to speak. He didn't want that kind of testimony.
That's right.
See, sometimes God doesn't want your testimony if you're not living your testimony.
That's right.
See, if you're not living a life that brings love to others, if you're not living a life that brings glory and honor to God, he doesn't want that kind of testimony.
That's right.
No, he wants a broken and contrite heart. He wants someone who is repentant and penitent. He did not let the demonic spirits say, "Yeah, you son of God." He just had to flee because of his popularity swelling to the point they want to kill him.
That's right.
He wouldn't let them say anything that brought a certain kind of attention that he did not desire.
That's right.
Which brings us to our text today.
That's right.
See, Jesus was about doing good. Jesus was about preaching the good news of the kingdom. But he understood, and we have to grasp this. We have to get this. He understood that we must understand that the world is desperate to receive what God has to offer. Is that right? Is that right? The world is desperate to receive what God has to offer, even though they may not understand or perceive that's what it is that they need. But the world is hurting. The world needs healing. The world needs compassion. The world needs love. The world needs a mending of brokenness. The world needs grace and mercy. Yes. And Jesus said, "I come that you may have life and that you may have it more abundantly." But he offers what we need. Jesus came to fulfill every need that we have. He came to show us the Father. Amen. He came to bridge the gap that has separated us from the Father. He came to be the atoning sacrifice for our sins. He came to do what no other one could do. For we were all lost and hopeless and yes, helpless. And we're still hopeless and helpless without Jesus. Jesus is the one who we need. He is the one who's able to fix all of your brokenness. And there's no one in here under the sound of my voice who could cock like a rooster and say, "I'm all the way alive. I'm healed. I have no quirks. I have no deficiency. We all need Jesus.
That's right. Amen.
His strategy, however, see, we see how he went through the cities and towns. We see how he went to and from, proclaiming the good news of the kingdom. But there's a greater strategy. If you want to have sustaining ministry, if you want to be able to leave a legacy, you have to have a strategy. You have to have a plan. See, the old statement, people don't plan to fail. They just fail to plan. That's a principle that transcends every arena of your life. I had to read a story to my youngest girl the other day. She go get a book that says bedtime, and I walk outside, so I just walk past the room, and she got a book in her hand. And I went and I read the ant and the grasshopper. Where did I brought you to read that to you? No, I didn't. And the grasshopper failed to plan.
That's right.
The ants all during the summer, when the grasshopper was just, living light and gay and happy and carefree. And they were diligently making preparation for the time when it got cold outside.
That's right.
Making preparation for the time when the weather would begin to change.
That's right.
They said that the grasshopper, he went to the field mouse. And the field mouse said, I'd love to bring you in, brother grasshopper. But I got friends coming in and family coming in from out of town. They're going to come in my burrow. They're going to spend the winter. Yeah. Finally, he came around to the ant. And the ant was cozy, feet up on the fire, and just chilling. And then they began to remind him. They reminded him of his life was solid. And now how would they come back to biting? And they said, come on in. And you know what they made him do? He was their servant all winter. For his room and board, he had to work all winter long. The point is, in every arena in life, be it your finances, be it the raising of your children, be it your own estate planning, be it the church, be it the fulfilling the mission of Jesus of harvesting lost souls. If you don't have a strategy, there'll be fruit rotting on the vine.
Yes, true.
Souls dying, decaying, going destined to hell. Because we have not devised a strategy to fulfill the commission that Jesus gave us.
That's right.
So yes, he had a strategy. And that strategy was, it included me and you. He said the harvest is plentiful. But the labor is few. And he told them, he said, now go and stand in front of the mirror. This is your actual homework now. Go and stand in front of the mirror and close your eyes. And then begin to pray to God that he will send forth workers in the church. That he will send forth laborers in different ministries. That he will send workers to go out in the highways and byways and proclaim the good news. To actually serve as the heart, legs, feet, hands of Jesus. And then open your eyes and behold in the mirror God's answer to your prayer. Notice, it includes you and I to become his representative and to go out into the world. That same world that you came out of, by the way. Oh yes. Go out into that same world that you came from, but with a new identity, with a new purpose, with a new attitude, if you will. A new mission of taking his message to the masses. And there we now converge on this text. I want to give a theme that's going to help us to navigate through this, that goes hand in hand with our title. The call, consider this, the call for versus the call of ministers. One is general, the call for ministers. And then one is specific, the call of ministers. See, the word minister comes from the word diakonos, which simply means servant. We are all servants. We are here to serve one another and to serve the world. And when we serve one another and serve the world, we ultimately are doing what? Serving God.
That's right.
So therefore, we are called to be ministers. My sermon title is couched in a question. Again, in keeping with the theme, the impact of Impact Ministries. What is the impact of your calling? What is the impact of your calling? We've all been called by the gospel, right? Amen, somebody. If you're a child of God, and every one of us ought to have a sense of calling, a sense of purpose. What on earth am I here for? God did not call you just to boast about being saved. No, He saved you for a purpose. And we ought to go about fulfilling that purpose. For Jesus Himself said in His priestly prayer to the Father, He said, Father, I have glorified you in all the earth by accomplishing the work you've given me to do. He understood He had purpose. He had calling. And we, being children of God, must understand we have purpose. We have a calling. Notice the contextual setting of this text is in the choosing of the 12. Jesus calls choice men with hearts that are right to be melted and molded for His purpose. He called and appointed men, and then He charges them. Notice the text. Again, in verse number 13, the Bible says that He goeth up into a mountain, and He calls unto him whom He would, and they came to Him. I want to begin with that 13th verse. I just read it, but there's some stuff in there that we need to consider. Number one, let me just say that Jesus looked not at stature. He did not look at physique. It reminds me of Samuel when he was commissioned by God to go and anoint the king of Israel.
That's right.
As you recall, the king Saul had fallen from grace. And now he charges Samuel to go to the sons of Jesse and to anoint a king. Right. And he went to Jesse. He said, Jesse? I don't know if he said it like that. Jesse said what? He said, a king is going to come out of your lineage. Right. He said, bring me your sons. And so Jesse, in his own human wisdom, he brought his firstborn son. Scrappy, buff, all the women that do like this. I'm talking over here, and you looking over there because he's over here, and he's about 6'4", two. Sister start shouting. But the point is, he began to parade. He paraded one son, and said that he's not the one. And so he brought another son. He's not the one. And he was bringing sons based on what he saw and what he conceived or perceived as the choice son. And he said, all the sons you got? He said, well, I got one lad out there. He's a scrawny little kid. He's out there tending sheep, Scrappy. So he bring him in. And as soon as he seen him, God put it on his heart and said, that's the one. Amen. And Brother Mary, why are you saying all this? See, when Jesus chose the 12, He did not choose and select them the way we often make selections. He did not interview him based on his pedigree. He did not look at his physique. He did not look at his appearance. He was not overly consumed and concerned about his ability or even his education. He was more concerned about the condition of the heart. Right. Mm-hmm. See, these men who he selected, they were just Galileans out of the ghettos of Galilee. They were not, from a university. They didn't have letters and titles before or after their name. They did not have all the trappings that human wisdom would say that's the person who we need to go after.
That's right.
He looked at the heart. See, Jesus called and he chose these men who, first of all, obviously listened more attentively than the others. See, great crowds had been coming to Jesus. Many heard him preach. Many saw miracles. Many saw all of those things. But sometimes there, even as you listen to my voice, there may be some who are more attentive than others. We can't make a judgment call on that. But see, Jesus was able to know the heart of man. He knew those who were attentive. He knew those who were casual listeners. He knew those who came with mixed motivation. He knew there were some who were following him because they thought perhaps they might get a free fish sandwich.
That's right.
He chose those men. Men who were more alert and awake to his message. The one who would be able to respond with a stirred heart. And we know these men weren't perfect. They had their strengths and weaknesses. But there's something about when God gets a hold of you. There's something when the word of God begins to really click and resonate in you. It begins to stir your heart.
That's right.
And you begin to develop, hey, here am I, send me attitude. Amen. You begin to develop a mindset that says, speak, Lord, your servant heareth, command, and I will obey. Amen. Where's your heart today? Are you alert or casual listener? Jesus chose those men who showed more attachment to him. See, when the crowds are gone, when the crowds have subsided, are you one who wants to remain with Jesus afterwards and have a special sense of attachment to Jesus? It's one thing to have the benediction and go home. It's another thing to still want to be close to Jesus, to want to commune with him on a deeper level. And they begin to display those kind of things. And when Jesus, from this great multitude, selected, he only chose 12. But that's all he needed. And he chose those who wanted to serve God with meaning and with purpose. See, when we become a Christian, God gives you a new identity. Right. Yes, we're chosen a peculiar people, a royal priesthood. But he also gives us that is inherent in that new identity, a new job description. Tells us what we must do. And so we see that Jesus called choice men. But the Bible also says in this text, and get this, we're only in verse number 13. He said, he goes into the mountain and he called unto him whom he would. Whom he would. See, Jesus made a statement to his disciples one time. You know what he said? Yes. Yes. You remember that? He said, you have not called me, but I have called you. Exercising his sovereign authority. His sovereign authority to make this selection process. He called whom he will. See, it's not a volunteer kind of thing. See, when God calls you, he does give you volition. He does give you freedom of choice to determine whether you're going to be a vessel of honor or dishonor. He gives you that. Yeah, but the call of God is more important than just a casual. A casual when I get around to it kind of thing. The calling ought to be a burning desire in the heart of the believer. Such to the point that you're willing to follow him wherever he leads. Notice, not only did he choose whom he would, but as verse 6 also goes to say, and they came unto him. They came unto him. There were many instances where he called someone to discipleship. Remember the rich young ruler? He says, good teacher, what must I do? What do I lack? In terms of this whole eternal life thing he's talking about. He said, well, the commandments, right? He said, I got all of that there. He said, well, do that. He said, I got that there. I've done all of that. said, okay, I tell you what. First of all, there was arrogance on his part to say he had kept all of it. He had kept everything. If he had kept everything, if we kept everything, we no need for Jesus to come, right?
Right.
I kept all of law. Haven't missed nothing. No diet, no gentle, nothing. Here, I tell you what then. I want you to sell everything you got. You know, be benevolent. Use that stuff to be useful. Give that stuff to the poor. And come on. Come on. Follow me. And Jesus started walking. He looked back. He's still standing over there. See, there's been time in your life where you have a sense of God calling you for certain things. Did you respond to the call? Or did you freeze? Did you, out of fear and lack of faith, begin to sink? See, when Peter called out to Jesus, if you are who you say you are, bid me to come out on the water. And then everybody gets down at Peter because Peter began to walk on the water. And then he began to take his eyes off Jesus and he began to sink, right? And everybody started dogging Peter out. What about the other 11 jokers who wouldn't even get out of the boat? That's what I want to know. They said, sit down, Peter, you rocking the boat. Somebody come here wants to do some special ministry. And they all robust and on fire for the Lord. And then all of us want to temper them down. Don't rock the boat. Don't step out on faith. Because when you step out on faith, you begin to expose us who have remained comfortable in this hot tub religion. And they came to him. See, when you look at the Greek, you see the construction of the text. It's deeper than they just came to him. It reads, and they came or went away with him. Now, the reason why that is significant, it suggests that they went away to him. In other words, they had to forsake everything else that previously was of value. Jesus once said, if you want to be my disciple, you have to hate your mother, father, sister, brother, wife, children, and even your own life. In other words, are you willing to follow Jesus? The deeper question is, are you willing to forsake? Are you willing to forsake those things that have become your Linus blanket? Right. You know what Linus blanket is, right? Yeah. They're a comfort blanket that you have to take with you wherever you go. I can't let go of this so I can reach out and take hold of Jesus. I don't know what that is for you. But many times we have to be real with ourselves and know that sometimes we can't follow Jesus because we have too many shackles that are holding us back. But these men, the Bible says, and they came. I'm so glad they came. They came unto him. You see, we must count the cost of discipleship. But we must also consider the reward. See, Jesus assures us that anyone who leaves home or wife or brother or parents or children for the sake of the kingdom will receive much more. And not only in this present age, but eternal life in the life to come. So it's not what you're giving up. See, we get caught up in what am I giving up? No, that's not what you're giving up. It's for the purpose of clearing out your garage so you can receive more. You can't receive more if you won't give up off of that little stuff you got. And so Jesus called them and they forsook all in order to come to him. Secondly, effective ministry functions through men appointed by Jesus. Did you get that? The first one is effective ministry requires men who are called. But ministry functions by men appointed by Jesus. Right. Notice in verse 14. And he ordained them. Or he appointed them. He appointed the 12 that they should, watch this, that they should do what? Be with him. And that he may what? Send them forth to preach. And to have what? power or authority to heal sickness and cast out devils. As you look around into this world, no, let me say it this way. As you look into your world, the world where you live. See, we live in different worlds. I don't know everybody you know. I don't come in contact with everybody you come in contact with. You know, we all have our own personal house, our own personal oikos, our own house, our own sphere of influence. And you look into your world, a world that is filled with lost souls. Have you ever asked the question, Lord, why am I saved? If you consider yourself to be a child of God, have you ever asked the penetrating and riveting question, Lord, why am I saved? As I look at this sea of lost humanity, and in what way is my salvation resulting in the salvation of others? Notice the disciples were appointed to be with Jesus. Now, this is the first requirement for ministry. I know sometimes we want to go out and do this, that, and the other, and all that kind of good stuff. I get it. But the first requirement, he called them that they may be with him. Personal fellowship and devotion, time with Jesus, is essential to effective ministry. Remember Jesus over in John 15 chapter? He said, I am the vine, and you are the branches. Remember that? He was saying that there is no nourishment unless you are connected with me. When you are disconnected from me, you wither and die. See, Christians can go to church and yet be withering and dying.
It's true.
If we're not connected to the vine.
That's right.
Yeah, over, watch this. Churches can become disconnected from the vine.
That's right.
And they can wither and die. Your own personal life, if it's not connected to the vine, can begin to wither and die. Yeah, I still go to the gym and all that kind of stuff. I work out. Yeah, I ain't even talking about that. I'm talking about the very spiritual strength, the very spiritual enrichment, empowerment comes from the resources that only Jesus can supply. And so he says, he called them to be with him. Examine your life. Have you accepted the invitation to be with Jesus? To have communion with Jesus. To allow Jesus to check you where you need to be checked. Allow Jesus to pick you up in areas that you've fallen down. Allow Jesus to knock you down when you're on your high horse. He's invited you to be with him for devotion, for fellowship, for shaking off the soot of sin. Yeah, he saved us from sin. But sometimes, even though we've been saved from the fiery furnace of sin, we still got a lot of soot. Yeah. The soot of sin still on us.
That's right.
Only with time with Jesus can he begin to help you to lay aside every weight that so easily besets us. Right. They may be with him. But not only for personal devotion and fellowship. See, to know him better, it's hard to trust somebody who you don't know. And many times we have a problem trusting Jesus wholeheartedly because he's a stranger. Because we don't really know him. We haven't spent that quality time with him. I'm reminded of the Apostle Paul over in Philippians, the 3rd chapter. He said, I want to know Christ and the power of his resurrection. I want to know him so intimately that I can share even in his suffering, to even be conformed to his death, that I may benefit and experience the glory of his resurrection. How much do you want to know Jesus? How diligently are we pursuing him? If he invited you to dinner, would you come? He's inviting you now. But not only that, the disciples were appointed to be with him. They were also appointed to be sent forth by him. This is the idea of being what we call over in 2 Corinthians chapter 5, an ambassador for Christ. See, Jesus, again, his strategy was to bring these 12 men that they may be with him and through communion and fellowship become more like him. So therefore, when he sends them forth, guess what? Jesus over here, Jesus over there, and everywhere they went, Jesus was with them. So he duplicated himself in others. And so, to be sent forth, to represent. See, how many of you guys are representing today? I know that's a term. I was over here at this party. I represent. Yeah. It's West Side in the house. It's South Side in the house. And I'm representing. What Jesus is saying, all the saints in the house. We need to represent. We are ambassadors or representatives of Christ. And he now wants to send them forth as he is our messengers, his ambassadors, as he is representatives. But not only that, he said that you don't just go out there and say, I'm representing. Okay, talk to me. And you don't have anything to say. Notice, he also sent them that they may do what? That they may preach. That they may preach. And this word, caruso, is the word for preaching here. It's the idea of not just saying some things, but having passion in your articulation. People ought to see, and you may not know every verb and how to conjugate this verb with that verb, and all that kind of stuff. But one thing they can say, he has a heart for God. Amen. Or Brother Cabell when I need. You can say a whole bunch of stuff, but one thing you can't say. You can't say you have a heart for God.
That's right.
Yes. With intense feeling. See, the herald is one who heralds the message of the kingdom, not something else. Sometimes we want to give our own little pop psychology and our little own, our spin. No, if you're going to represent, if you're going to be an ambassador, you have to represent the sovereignty who you're representing. If you represent the kingdom, don't come with some other message. Make sure the message is not some concocted, man-made message. It has to be the authentic, unadulterated, incorruptible Word of God. Amen. And so therefore, he came, and he called them, and he set them, and he appointed them to preach the message of the kingdom of heaven. To make known the gospel of Jesus Christ, that others may be compelled to heed that message. And then also the disciples were appointed to receive power. To receive power. To receive divine enabling. See, God, when he calls, he also equips. And then if he equips, he sends. But he does not send us forward inadequate. He makes us fully furnished for every good work. And so now we see why he called them to be with him. That they can receive everything they need to receive. So therefore when they went forth with power. Remember in Acts, the first chapter, verse 8 and following, they were jamming Jesus up, quizzing him about, when all these things going to come to pass about restoring, Israel and all that kind of stuff. And he said, you know what? Don't even get into that. He said, but you shall receive power when the Holy Spirit is come upon you. And when you receive this power, then you'll be my witnesses all over the world. And so therefore he now brings them and gets them together so he may put them in a position to receive power, divine enabling, so So no longer can they say, I did this. Everything that we do in ministry, we dare not say, I did this. It's all about what God has empowered and enabled us to accomplish.
Amen.
It's not a matter of human achievement, as one of my friends would always say. It's a divine accomplishment. And we can't boast in what we have done. We've got to give glory and honor to the very God who chose us, appointed us, and now is commissioning us to accomplish the work that he has given us to do.
Amen.
Christ calls whom he wills. For his grace is his own. He had called the apostles to separate them from the crowd, and they came to him. He now gave them power to heal sickness and to cast out devils. But today, Jesus is calling you to greater levels of faith. He's calling you to greater levels of service. Will you heed the Master's call? And finally, as we hasten to a close, let me say that effective ministry is performed by men changed by Jesus. Yes. If you want to have sustaining ministry, effectiveness of any ministry depends on the personnel responsible for it. Yes. In just a moment, we're going to go over here. We're going to have some refreshments, okay? All of you guys can venture out. We're going to have some refreshments. And, where's Teeny at? She's with her and my wife are back there right now. And they're putting, let's say, ministry. And they put, you can see the ministry that they put stuff into that ministry. It's not some happenstance. They glorify God in that ministry.
Amen.
There are things that you are involved in right now. That you are glorifying God in those things. And as you approach those things, you approach it with the understanding that this is my service to God. And again, how is your ministry impacting others? He gave them their power. And now he's calling us. Quickly, let's look at a few things. Notice in verse 16, the Bible says, what did it say? Oh yeah, that's what he said. And Simon, he begins to name the disciples. Okay, Simon, he's surnamed Peter, James, son of Zebedee, and John his brother. James, surnamed Boanerges, which is the sons of thunder. Andrew, Philip, Bartholomew, Matthew, Thomas and Thaddeus, Simon the Zealot, Judas Iscariot. I chose to kind of truncate this message and not really go into a whole bunch about Peter, Cephas, Rock, and all that kind of stuff. Characteristics of him. He had his strengths and he had his weaknesses. All of them did. Like all of us have our strengths and weaknesses. So I'm not going to kind of codify this thing. But I will say this. Change comes from the willingness to change. Mm-hmm. See, I'm not here to beat folk over the head with the Bible. Try to make people, just... I used to debate a lot. I thought I was tough. Naivete. But the bottom line is I talked to a brother, and, I convinced him with the book, chapter, and verse of everything. And you know what he did? He conceded and got baptized. He could not withstand my argument. But he got baptized with his fist balled up. Someone said a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. And eventually he found, he was very observant in trying to find different ways to find fault and find his way on out of there. I'm not saying we are not to be able to give a strong, apologetic or a systematic defense of faith. But it's not my job to make you believe.
That's right.
It's my job is to bring you into direct confrontation with the God of heaven.
That's right.
That's his job. But having said that, Change comes from a willingness to change. These men exhibited certain things that help us understand that they wanted what Jesus had. See, there were many who had followed for different reasons. And one time Jesus in John the 6th chapter, he told them, if any man want to follow me, you're going to have to eat of my flesh and drink of my blood. And then the people begin to say, wait, they begin to choke over that. Oh yeah, wait, stop. We can't get with that program. He said, that's a hard saying. Who can hear it? And the Bible said, and from that day, many folks start to find themselves out that back door. Folks start to walk. They start to leave Jesus. And many of them decided, I'm not following him anymore. And notice what Jesus did. He didn't say, come on back, fellas. I was just kidding. No. You know what he did? He turned. He turned. He turned from those who were leaving. And he turned to the 12. And he said, now will you also go away? He said, the ball is down in your court. And I'm looking at the audience today right now. We can do great things. But as those people get uncomfortable with the gospel and whatever the case may be, and they turn and follow Jesus no more, what are you going to do? He turned to the 12. Will you also go away? And these same 12 who were there with their idiosyncrasies, with their defects and faults. I remember James and John called the Sons of Thunder. It was said that one time they were passing through a Samaritan city and got treated kind of in a rebuffed kind of way. And they said, Jesus called down fire from heaven. And it burned all these jokers up. Yes. Oh yeah, Peter was one who would be all brave. And the guy came to arrest Jesus. He cut his ear off. 5 minutes later, he was denying he ever even knew it. Change. Yes. You look in your mirror, you know that there was a time in your life when you was looking any kind of way, juke joints and all that kind of chili pippin and all that kind of stuff that you had going on and all that kind of change. And change is what you don't do. Some people, I don't go to the place no more because we're too old to get up. I got a man here. Somebody just double bump and just threw my socks out. And now I don't go to those places anymore. See, change is not necessarily what you don't do anymore. It's what you now do. See, when you turn from the world, it's not good enough. You have to turn to Jesus. Amen. And now, what are you doing with your life? I didn't ask what you're not doing, because you can't do it anymore. All that kind of stuff. I'm asking, what are you doing? What have you done for me lately? Is what Jesus is asking. Yeah, these men, tax collectors, insurrectionists, whatever the case may be. The bottom line is, all these men with their strengths and their weaknesses, all were impacted in order that they now may impact others. Have you been impacted by Jesus? Before you answer yes or no, what is the impact of your ministry on the lives of others? That becomes the litmus test as to whether or not you've been impacted by Jesus. There was one named Judas Iscariot. All the evidence points to the fact that he was not changed. He was not impacted. Do you have a heart for change? Do you have a heart for change? See, God is calling those who can change the world, but you can't change the world until you've been changed yourself. Sure. And so that's why Jesus called them to be with him. So they may, under his bosom, they may get the nourishment that brings about qualitative change. So that he could now send them forth to preach and to receive power. And to use that power to call others that they may be nourished, that they may be sent out to bring in others and beat those over. That's what this is all about. So he chose those men. He chose those men. And at that, we see the strategy of effectiveness in ministry. Perpetual ministry. Generational ministry that brings generational blessings. Generational impacting of the community around us. May the Lord send forth those workers into his kingdom.
Amen.
May he send forth more and more of those who have been with him and have learned of him to preach the gospel. And when I say preach the gospel, I'm not saying that we need to don the pulpit. But every one of us preaches the gospel even before we say a word.
That's right.
See, Jesus calls us to be two things. To be light and to be salt. And light, you can see light from a distance. See, if people look at your life, they ought to see the light of your life.
Amen.
And so therefore now, because of that light, you become more approachable. But see, once they make contact with you, that's when the salt takes over. See, salt influences whatever it makes contact with.
Right.
If you got salt in your salt shaker on the kitchen table, and you eat all this bland food, don't get mad at the salt. The salt has to come out of the salt shaker. And so we've been called to be that brilliant city on the hill, that light that attracts everyone. But then we got to get down deep and dirty and begin to make contact. That's what God is calling us to do. To make contact, to preach the gospel, to be instruments in the blessed work of God.
Amen.
Those whose hearts are enlarged in the work of God can easily bear with whatever inconveniences they may face. We don't serve out of convenience. Yes, I may be inconvenienced on many occasions, but because of the love of God, I continue to serve even in the context of my inconvenience. Sometimes we get scared that way. Have you been inconvenienced by serving God? Oh, of course not. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. He took you out of your comfort zone, out of your hot tub, when you was watching your favorite program that you ought not be watching anyway, hint, clue. Someone over here has a need, and you reluctantly, don't lie to me, you reluctantly, well, God, coming over and help brother so-and-so out. Hope you get it that together. Bother me. It's inconvenience. Don't you think it was inconvenient for Jesus to come to get spat upon, to leave the lofty portals of heaven, to deal with us, to be ridiculed by us, to be talked about, spat upon, crucified by us? There was nothing about that that was convenient. But it was expedient. It was necessary. God is calling us to do what's necessary. And then we find joy. We find joy in doing those things that bring glory and honor to God. Aren't you glad that God called you? Do you feel a sense of calling in your life? God is calling everyone in this room. If you're not a member of the body of Christ, if you're not a Christian, understand that God is calling you by the gospel. The good news that defeats the bad news, that all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Every last one of us. And then God stepped in with his grace. He stepped in with his mercy. He stepped in with his love. And he gave us a demonstration of that love by offering his only begotten Son to die for you. And we have someone owes us $15. We won't forgive him. And he forgave you for your life. He gave your life back. If you're not a member of the body of Christ, you ought to say yes to God today. Yes, I believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of the living God. And he came to do for me what I could not do for myself. And now I want to turn. I want to turn from my old agenda. I want to turn from this world and turn to God. I want to repent of my sin. I want to confess him as Lord. I want to now be buried in the watery grave of baptism for the remission, washing away, cancellation, whatever you want to say, to get rid of my sin condition. Reestablish a relationship that God had in mind even in the garden. And then use you. Call you to be with him. To be with him, that he may send you. And remember his team. If any of this belongs to you, we want you to think about that. We ask our brethren to come up and to receive the prayer request that you have. If someone wants to give their life to God today, if you're not a Christian, you want to be baptized for the forgiveness of your sins, you can do that today. Understanding that God loves you. He loved you so much that he gave you his very best when you were at your very worst. He did not love you because you were so good. He loved you in spite of the fact that you weren't. But now he brings you in that you may share the love of God with others. You remember the body of Christ when you know your life has been empty? Your life has been a shell of what it ought to be for him. Enjoy the fullness of that relationship by saying, you know what, I haven't been everything I need to be, but I'm willing to repent and get back on track and allow God to really work mightily in my life. I want to ask the singers to begin to sing softly. Think about who you are. Think about where you are. And as they sing, I want you to think about what you need to do. You may need to come before the church and say, brothers and sisters, I've sinned. I've sinned against the church and I repent of that. And I want your prayers that I be a stronger Christian. You may have something of a personal nature that you can share with these brothers and they pray with you and pray for you. You may need to be baptized in forgiveness. You may say that, you know what, I've been away from God. I need to be restored back to the fellowship. Whatever your response, make that response. Together we stand and sing the song.